Bugman, No Way Home is a 2021 hero film, in view of the Marvel Comics superhuman of the same name. The film is a spin-off to Spider-Man, Homecoming, Spider-Man, Far From Home, just as a hybrid, spin-off of the Spider-Man trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man duology. It is the 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the 10th portion of Phase 4. The film was delivered on December 17, 2021. The movie is coordinated by John Watts and stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Zendaya as Michelle Jones, Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, Jamie Foxx as Max Dillon, Electro, Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Alfred Molina as Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, Benedict Wong as Wong, Tony Revolori as Flash Thompson, Marissa Tomei as May Parker, Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. A sequel was uncovered to be being developed on November 29, 2021. 1. Promotion. Summation. Without precedent for the realistic history of Spider-Man, our well-disposed Area Saint's character is uncovered, bringing his superhero obligations into struggle with his typical life and putting those he thinks often about most in danger. At the point when he enlists Doctor Strange's assistance to re-establish his mysterious, the spell tears an opening in their reality, delivering the most impressive low-life who've at any point battled a Spider-Man in any universe. Presently, Peter should defeat his most prominent test yet, which won't just everlastingly change his own future yet the eventual fate of the multiverse. 2. Plot. J. Jonah Jameson of the Daily Bugle has exposed Peter Parker's way of life as Spider-Man to the world, while at the same time outlining him as the individual capable for Mysterio's passing and an alleged mass setback event in London. Various regular people close by start to encompass him and Michelle Jones, compelling them to escape from the media and the police. They stow away in Parker's condo and rejoin with May Parker and Happy Hogan, who uncover that they have separated. Not long later, the Department of Damage Control take them along with Ned Leeds in their care for cross-examination. Parker hires Matt Murdock to address him, who figures out how to get his criminal accusations dropped. Nonetheless, as Parker, Jones, and Leeds return to Midtown High for their senior year, the extraordinary debate makes them be dismissed from each school they apply to, including MIT. Yet again Parker visits the New York sanctum and asks Doctor Strange to make the character of Spider-Man confidential to get his companions into MIT. In spite of being cautioned by Wong not to, Strange endeavors to project the spell with the runes of Goth Coal. Notwithstanding, Parker unremittingly adjusts the spell while mentioning different people near him to be excluded from its belongings. Accordingly, the spell becomes unsound, constraining Strange to contain it. For not talking with school chairman prior to meeting with him, Strange irately shows Parker out of the sanctum. Contacting Flash Thompson, who was conceded to MIT, Parker is directed to a chairman going to the Alexander Hamilton Bridge in an endeavor to pursue his, Jones and Leeds applications. Parker is abruptly trapped by Dr. Octopus, who appears to know him actually. Specialist Octopus gets him and tears out a piece of the Iron Spider armor, moving its nanites onto his tentacles. He goes for another strike, yet Spider-Man uncovers his face, which is new to Dr. Octopus. Insect Man then, at that point, assumes responsibility for Dr. Octopus' appendages with the suit's nanites and salvages the MIT administrator from tumbling off the extension, who chooses to assist with getting him and his companions conceded out of appreciation. Green Goblin arrives and endeavors to assault Spider-Man. However, he and Dr. Octopus are moved into the Sanctum, where Strange detains Dr. Octopus and Lizard. He illuminates Parker that Dr. Octopus, Lizard, and Green Goblin are not of this universe, but rather from equal real factors inside the multiverse, who were maneuvered into this reality by the bomb spell since they know Spider-Man's personality. To contain this spell, Strange secures it the Machina de Catavus, a mysterious control unit. Parker is enlisted to help find and catch these guests, getting a wizardry-based move up to his suit. With help from Jones and Leeds, Spider-Man locates Electro outside the city. Frightened, he assaults Spider-Man and gains the advantage, but Sandman intervenes to safeguard the legend. The two work together to cut the electrical cables, which completely re-establishes Electro's body. At the point when he is shipped off the Sanctum, Sandman accepts Spider-Man killed him, but at the same time is caught before he can fight back. Elsewhere, Norman Osborn attempts to escape from his Green Goblin persona, breaking his cover prior to escaping to a FEAST facility looking for shelter. Insect Man finds Osborn on account of May and carries him to the Sanctum too. Osborn, Dr. Octopus, and Electro before long understand that they were saved from death by being brought into this universe minutes before they were remembered to have died. Bizarre discloses to Spider-Man that these three are ill-fated to kick the bucket battling their own Spider-Men. He plans to utilize the Machina to switch the spell and send them back to their destinies for the more prominent multiverse. Persuaded that they can be restored of their opposing qualities and be saved from death, Spider-Man takes the Machina before Strange can utilize it and escapes. Peculiar gives pursue, takes Spider-Man's wizardry back, and sends him into the mirror dimension to recover the Machina, while likewise attempting to beseech him of the multiversal stakes depending on the guests being sent back. Resolute, Spider-Man traps Strange in a web grid and takes his sling ring before getting back to the earthly plane. He passes the ring to Leeds and the Machina to Jones prior to letting the detainees out of imprisonment. Taking them to Hogan's condominium, Spider-Man endeavors to manage remedies for the multiversal displaced people. He begins with Dr. Octopus, utilizing a Stark Industries fabricator to engineer a swap inhibitor chip for his appendages and re-establish his higher cerebrum work. Also, Electro has an energy siphon introduced into him which is intended to separate his powers. In any case, before he could influence Osborn, the Green Goblin persona assumes control over his body, who convinces Electro to eliminate the direct before it can completely remove his capacities. He takes an arc reactor and, drawing its power, shoots Octavius out of the structure. Reptile, Sandman, and Electro escape, while Green Goblin assaults Spider-Man, sending him to the ground floor. Running outside, May infuses a remedy into Green Goblin, which doesn't work. Subsequent to hitting May with his Goblin glider, Green Goblin throws two pumpkin bombs, which Spider-Man neglects to hinder and detonates in their vicinity. Bugman figures out how to find May in the rubble. Uninformed that she had been seriously harmed, May tells her nephew not to quit any pretense of helping other people regardless of all chances, addressing him that to whom much is given, much will be expected. As DOD officials encompass them, Spider-Man attempts to save May, without any result, as she dies before him. Hogan shows up on the scene and is quickly secured by specialists. Anguish-stricken, Spider-Man escapes, his responsibility deteriorating with Jameson's gaslighting inclusion of the assault. Developing troubling after Spider-Man's quietness, Jones plans to actuate the Machina, yet Leeds figures out how to open an entryway with the sling ring coincidentally. Endeavoring to observe Spider-Man, they see what is by all accounts their Spider-Man on the opposite side of the entryway, bringing him over. In any case, They before long understand that this Spider-Man is not theirs, but instead one from another universe that recently battled the Lizard and Electro. Leeds attempts once more, yet summons one more alternate Peter Parker, who recently battled Green Goblin, Octavius, and Sandman. The Gathering at last figure out how to find their Spider-Man alone on top of Midtown and endeavor to support him about May, yet he is too troubled with regards to his missteps to try and mind. Before he can utilize the Machina to send the multiversal Voyagers home, the other two Parkers start sharing their very own encounters of misfortune and harshness to help him adapt and understand that he isn't the only one. A perked-up Spider-Man then, at that point, chooses to do how he wanted to treat the Scalawags. The Parkers, Jones, and Leeds then, at that point, retreat to a study hall research center in Midtown to make the remedy for the reprobates. Osborn's Parker designs an enemy of serum for Green Goblin as Electro's Parker reproduces the Lizard remedy to get him once again to ordinary, while Spider-Man readies the solutions for Sandman and Electro. Subsequently, Leeds carries them to the Statue of Liberty via entry as he and Jones stay in the lab, with the previous brightening them up for the impending fight in front of them. Insect Man calls into the Daily Bugle to broadcast a message, involving the Machina as a draw while declaring his quality to Lizard, Electro, and Sandman. They show up and assault the three Spider-Men on the framework. The web-slingers can't organize successfully, which drives them to be effortlessly overwhelmed by their adversaries. Gathering up, Spider-Man accepts order of the threesome because of his experience as a feature of the Avengers. The three embrace code names, Spider-Man as Peter 1, Osborn's Spider-Man as Peter 2, and Electro's Spider-Man as Peter 3. They choose to draw in and fix each adversary in turn, with Sandman first. Subsequent to limiting Lizard, Electro's Spider-Man recovers Sandman's fix and passes the gadget to Spider-Man, who then, at that point, conveys the fix to Osborn's Spider-Man, permitting Marco to be killed. The three Spider-Men endeavor to take the arc reactor from Electro, however he ends up being an over-the-top Matt